मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानि नाहं न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न जघ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुः न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशः न वा पाणिपादौ न जोपस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न मे द्वेषरागौ न मे लोभमोहौ मधो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्य भावः न धर्मो न चातो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्द्रो न तीर्थं न भोग्यं न भक्तो अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भक्तो चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 Thank you.
Our president now, one of the prime movers to make this evening happen, will address us. Rotate and run.
Good evening, invitees and Rotarians. A recent WhatsApp message I received was something like this, quote, "Live your life well so that we don't have to lie at your memorial service." When I read this, late PDG Ramakrishna came to my mind. We never have to lie about him. He was, what we saw was that we got. What we heard was what he gave us. So today, here we are celebrating his life, a life well lived. Professor B. Kamakoti, Director of IIT Madras, and the recipient of today's award on behalf of Ramakrishna, District Governor J. Sridhar, past Rotary International Governor Director P.T. Prabhagar, past district governors, governors in waiting. We have with us Mr. Ravi and Mr. Murali, good friends of Ramakrishna Raja of Hindu, and we have the entire family of Ramakrishna Raja here. Mrs. Rajalakshmi Ramakrishna Raja and the family members, members from the media, Rotarians, past and present members of this club. I extend a very warm welcome to this award ceremony. See, we have been waiting for this occasion for the last 2 years. See, the multiple waves of pandemic that it came in restrained us. It was a constraint for us to have this function done, and we are happy that we are here today doing this. So thank you, Professor Kamakoti, for accepting this award. You know, it's a deep honor for us that you came and accepted us. See, this award is going to be an annual feature where we will look at men and women who have excelled in their vocation, and we are going to award them, present them with this award. A good number of Rotarians, helped us in conducting this program. So I have to name three of our past presidents. Past President Venkateshwaran, past President R.V. Rajan, and past President Sheshadri. Of course, I don't want to forget our evergreen PDG, Natarajan Nagoji. Day by day he is getting younger. I have to understand what is the secret behind that. He's our connect to the external Rotary world. So thanks a lot. Many of the members were supporting us. So thanks to all of them. And now we will move ahead with the program. Over to MC Pukun. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Retired Ramakrishna Raja had acquired dignity, was loyal to his connections all around him, fulfilling every obligation he took. Let us enjoy good memories brought out by the special reel made for this evening. We will watch an audio visual. Ramakrishna Raja, Ram, among friends, was one of the tallest figures in Rotary. At just 23 years, he became Charter Secretary of the Rotary Club of Madras South in 1960 and later President in 1968-69. His illustrious Rotary career of 60 years mirrored the progress of the Rotary movement in India and worldwide. Ramakrishna Raja had held just about every post in the district. His knowledge and wisdom and his qualities of head and heart had enriched his club, RI District 3230 and Rotary International. There was little in Rotary he did not touch, and there was little he touched that he did not adorn. A major donor, Ramakrishna Raja served as District Secretary in 1973-74 and District Governor in 1986-87. He was a member of the National Polio Plus Immunization Program and Planning Committee for 8 years. He also represented several international Rotary presidents at district conferences in India. Ramakrishna Raja was the group discussion leader at the International Assembly in Anaheim in 1996. Little wonder that every Rotary governor regarded him as a mentor and role model of wisdom, maturity, fairness, and dedication. These qualities also stood out in his professional and personal life. Ramakrishna Raja's welded wire mesh company was just 2 years older than his Rotary career and equally successful. Among the many recognitions he got, the Rotary Service Above Self Award from Rotary International was one of the highest awards in Rotary that he received in 2015. A lifelong Rotarian, Ramakrishna Raja even attended the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of Rotary Club of Madras South in February 2020 in spite of poor health. It was the last function of Rotary he was to attend. Ramakrishna Raja relished the good things in life: music, dance, good food, friends, and family. And Rajalakshmi, son Ranganath, daughter Geeta, and his grandchildren were the pivots of his busy and happy family. In his passing away on 24th March 2020, the Rotary world lost a perfect gentleman Rotarian and Rotary Club of Madras South, a pillar of strength. To commemorate his memory for posterity, the board of Rotary Club of Madras South has decided to institute a corpus fund and an annual award of excellence in his name. The club has chosen Professor V. Kamakoti, the director of IIT Madras, to receive the first PDG Ramakrishna Raja Memorial Award for Excellence. Coincidentally, Raja and Professor Kamakoti were good friends because of their common interest in Carnatic music and yoga.
It is a great way to start the day. It gives you the energy for the rest of the day. And we look forward to getting together every morning, very early. There's a competition. We always try to see who comes first. And then we look forward to a 1 hour under the guidance of our yoga teacher, Hema.
Though he is no more, Ramakrishna Raja's spirit will continue to guide the Southerners. Rotary Club of Madras South will always be known as Raja's Club.
The PDG Ramakrishna Award, what it's about, our past district governor Natarajan Nagoji will give us some information.
Thank you, Mukul. President Ranjit, Governor Sridhar, galaxy of PDGs who are here today. I see a lot of guests. And I'm also happy to see so many past presidents who are not with us in our club anymore, but they still have a love for Ramakrishna Raja. And they have chosen to come here today to grace the occasion. Rotarians of Rotary Club Madras South and guests and the family members of PDG Ramakrishna Raja. Like it has been said here through the audiovisual, we lost our most distinguished member, PDG Ramakrishna Raja, 2 years back. It was in late 1950s that a group of young entrepreneurs, predominantly having their setups in Guindy, who thought about setting up a new Rotary Club. This was told to me by Ramakrishna Raja in one of the five-side meetings. The Rotary Club Madras was very reluctant. It was the only club in Chennai, in Madras then. Of course, there was Rotary Club of Vellore. And it was reluctant to start another club in Madras. And Ramakrishna Raja told me that with great difficulty they could manage to convince the then president of Rotary Club Madras to allow them to start another club. And this club was started, Rotary Club Madras South was started in 1960 when Ramakrishna Raja was the chartered secretary. It was a foreigner who was the president. I joined Rotary after 30 years, after the start of our club, that is 1990. And when I joined Rotary Club of Madras South, there were such great converts like Srinivasa Rao of Solidaire and Vijay Kumar and Prasad and Vasu, they are here today. And yes, Jayaraman, R.V. Rajan, Venkateshwaran, N.R. Nair, Chari, all the solvers are there, and we had one PDG, Ramakrishna Raja. All of us, Veerappan, all of us looked all of us looked up to. And that was, as was said in the audiovisual, because of his the manner in which he lived his life with such dignity, with such grace. And he was the simplicity, the integrity, straight like a rod. And when I became a president in 98, 99, I realized the awe and admiration for Ramakrishna Raja, which the big wigs in the district had. And that was because he had malice for none. He never was rude or never said anything bad about anybody. But he spoke his mind. He was completely apolitical, neutral. And there are a lot of things that we learned from him. And I became governor exactly 30 years after he became governor. 86, 87 was his governorship, and my governorship was in 16, 17. And he stood like a rock behind me when I was a governor. I had to face a few challenges. And he, during those times, held my hand and took me across. I can never forget that. And he used to say, which I would like to share here, he used to say, Nagoji, in Rotary, every assignment, be it a president, be it a governor, except of course director, is for 1 year. So, even if you can't do much good, you will not be able to do much harm to Rotary. And he said, the assignment is for only 1 year. After that, step back. Let the new leader take over. Let him do his best. Don't think that only you will be able to do it, because you won't. And we, and especially I, learned not only what to do as a governor, PDG, I also learned from him how one should not behave, what one should not do as a PDG. And that was his great man. And as was said here, now it's 2 years since he has passed. And last year, because of the pandemic, we could not really do anything about it. But we have been thinking that we should have a memorial in his name to keep his memory fresh. See, every year we are getting a lot of newcomers in our club. Rotary Club of Madras South is getting a lot of interest from people who want to join Rotary. But unfortunately, those people would never have this opportunity to meet a man like him. So we want to keep his memory alive so that people should know his contribution to not only to Rotary Club of Madras South, to the district and to Rotary International. His contribution has been immense, and his life has been so rich, the way he lived it with dignity and grace. And we decided to celebrate his memory year after year by recognizing and awarding a recipient who is worthy of that great man. And we decided on Professor Kamakoti, Director IIT. You will hear more about him during the citation. But here is a man who, with his vocation, and we all are in Rotary for our vocation here, holding the highest ethical standards in his vocation and going beyond the call of service to help others, and service our motto. The way he, through his vocation of computer engineering, architecture, artificial intelligence, is not only affected the students or benefited the students, but also the general public and the nation by building import substitutes through his vocation. So we are so happy to have you here, sir, as a recipient of the first beneficiary of the first memorial award of PDG Ramakrishna Raja. But friends, even now, honestly, let me tell you, even now, when I face a challenge, when there's a problem, or even in a delicate issue where I have to decide whether this or that, I would pause for a moment and think, what PDG Ramakrishna would have done? What would have been his reaction? whether I do it or not is an issue, because everybody cannot be like a Prof. PDG Ramakrishna, because he never did anything wrong. That I think all of us here agree, he never did anything wrong, and he was a man. For me, he was the man. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramakrishna. We will now have the reading and handing over of the citation. I request President Ranjit to kindly accompany Professor V. Kamakoti to the dais. Today in Sri Ranganath Raja, kindly join us on the dais. Today in Venkateshwaran, Lieutenant Shishadri will now read the citation.
It's my proud privilege to read the citation that's going to be presented to Professor Kamakoti shortly. A man of science who is deeply anchored in spirituality, Professor V. Kamakoti exemplifies professional excellence, service-mindedness, and humility. He was born on 21st July 1968 in Vishnupuram, a prosperous village in the Tanjore Delta, to an agricultural family where his ancestors owned several acres of land. After 4 years in the village, he moved to Chennai, where he did his higher secondary at PS Senior Secondary School. But his frequent visits to his native village during vacations kindled in him a deep interest in village life and agriculture. He became a lifelong enthusiast of sustainable organic farming. He introduced innovative ideas not only in his family farm but also in other farms. Result, Vishnupuram has become a model village. Dr. Kamakoti joined IIT Madras after school and obtained MS and PhD degrees in computer science and engineering. He rejected tempting study offers from abroad on the advice of the Paramacharya, the senior seer of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. He joined the faculty of IIT Madras in 2001. His growth and accomplishments here were remarkable. He started as an assistant professor, later became professor, and took over as director in January 2022. One of those eminent scholars who have headed institutions where they started as students. Professor Kamakoti specializes in the areas of computer architecture and information security. He headed the microprocessor development program and the information security education and awareness program at IIT Madras, funded by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. He is a member of the National Security Advisory Board. He was also the chairman of the Artificial Intelligence Task Force, constituted by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. He has to his credit more than 150 publications in international journals. He has coordinated and successfully delivered close to 50 projects from industry and government R&D establishments. He led the research team that designed and booted up India's first indigenously developed microprocessor, Shakti, that can be used in mobile computing devices and networking systems. It can reduce reliance on imported microprocessors in communications, defense, and other vital sectors. Professor Kamakoti has won numerous awards. To mention just a few, the inaugural IIT Madras Young Faculty Recognition Award in 2007, the DRDO Academic Excellence Award in 2014, the Abdul Kalam Technology Innovation National Fellowship, the CCS Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2017, Professor Kamakoti was appointed chairman of a task force on leveraging artificial intelligence for development across various fields. He helped ensure effective management of the COVID-19 pandemic by the Arogya Setu app. Professor Kamakoti shares with the late Ramakrishna Raja a deep interest in Carnatic music. In fact, he had formal training in playing the violin. In recognition of his many splendid contributions as a scientist to progress in computer architecture, information security, artificial intelligence, technology education, organic farming, and to the promotion of national self-reliance, the Rotary Club of Madras South is privileged to confer on Professor V. Kamakoti the first PDG Ramakrishna Raja Memorial Award for excellence on this day, the 24th of March 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chandri. I would request President-elect Jawar to kindly accompany our district governor to the stage. I kept it pending so that we don't hurt a leg. I request Past District Governor Naguchi to join us. District Governor Sridhar will hand over the citation to Professor V. Kamakoti. President Ranjit will hand over the plaque. Lieutenant Shishadri, who has been diligently bringing out our Southerners magazine, has brought out a special issue for this evening. I request him to join us on the dais and Past District Governor Nagarji will release the first issue.
A great pleasure presenting the PDG Ramakrishna Raja Memorial Southerner by Sheshadri.
Printed copies are available just next to the exit. And please collect a copy on your way out. Professor Kamakoti will address us towards Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Very good evening to all of you. I thank the family of Ramakrishna and the Rotary Club for bestowing me with this award. I fondly cherish the great memories I had with Ramakrishna Raja sir, especially our morning yoga class, the entire yoga team here. So 5:45 is the time where we need to enter into that yoga class. And some days we'll be late by a couple of minutes, some days I'll be late. It's a competition who reaches first. And every day we say, like a very young kid, we say, hey, I am before you, every morning. We both could not go for the yoga class. Now I see the discipline has become very bad. Now 6:15 is where the Islamic class. So such was such a wonderful time I had with him. We started interacting when we wanted to get the first website for the music academy. Then Mr. Murli sir was there, and he was very inquisitive. He said, "What are we going to put in the website, and what is HTML? How do we host this? What is an IP address?" So everything he took. So around 3 hours I spent with him explaining what is the entire web technology. That was the inquisitiveness he had. And he used to talk to me about lot about entrepreneurship, and very early days. There was a very interesting conversation that we had. How to build industry, how things work in India, what will not work in India. Such a vast experience, and all these things I really miss him, especially on the day when I was appointed as the director. I certainly, he would have been just jumping. I really miss him for that. So coming to the Atmanirbhar Bharat, COVID has taken several things away from us, but it has taught a lot of lessons. When we were architecting the Arogya Setu app, which today 19 crore people are using, right? It's the largest app anywhere that we use. We were actually facing a crisis. We did not know, nobody understood COVID, nor we have understood so far. Only thing that was certain in that uncertain environment was that if a COVID positive patient comes closer to another COVID positive patient, another person, the chances of him getting the disease is high. The only certain thing that we knew. And when India wanted to have a contact tracing application, many of you would have been using Arogya Setu. 22 days, 30-member team just completely architected it. That's a big thing which no country has achieved this. I was given the responsibility by the Prime Minister's office to ensure the security of this, because there are a lot of private data that could be stored in that, and also the performance measuring. And when the Prime Minister actually announced it, in the first minute, we had 25,000 access per second. And that's the largest hit any application software across the world has been hit, and this succeeded. That's a big thing that as a country we have achieved. But at the point of time, many of you will be using some mobile phones, right? So you'll be having an Android and an Apple, the two major devices that are in place. As a part of my lecture, I don't mention any company name. I don't want to. These companies, we were at the mercy of these companies to basically allow them to put this in their respective Play stores so that we could download. If I want to put the app on your mobile phone, it has to go through the approval of those companies. And the torture that we went in a crisis made us rethink who we are. We are a 140 crore population with 100 crore mobile subscribers. We are the largest market in this country. Why are we like this? Why should somebody rule us? This was one part. The second part of this also came when we were looking at certain essential things for our vaccine, essential materials for ventilators, essential technologies, and at every stage there was a backfire. And all these things put together, one fine, when this lockdown was happening, the Honorable Prime Minister was addressing the nation. And in one address, he came out with this term, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliance. We need to have our technology. we got a social independence in 1947, but we are electronic slaves. As we move towards a digital India, what is it that we can own? What is it that is under our control? Are we going to depend upon everything to somebody else? So these are questions that came. And then there is, from the day that, always, in Tamil we say, Nalla Sagunathla Sonan, the day when Honorable PM mentioned this Atmanirbhar, I think that word caught up like wildfire. And many, many things have happened after that. And that is very welcoming to our nation. As we now go through this major revolution, one, after a COVID, we are rebooting ourselves. Everywhere we see a fresh energy coming up. As and when the new markets are growing and we become more digital, today we don't go to market to buy vegetable, we call a phone, we just put and we get better vegetables than what we select. And lot more of transactions are happening. When we look at the statistics with the bank, the alternate channel has touched somewhere close to 95-96% in some of the banks. So still this check and other type of physical transactions have reduced even 4% at some point of time. So with this amount of digitization that is happening, electronics becomes very important. And the government had come out with this $10 billion, 76,000 crores for making semiconductor electronics, basically all that goes into your mobile phone. Please remember, 80% of what is done inside your mobile phone is imported today, right? We want to bring it to 20 or 10 to 20%. And that's a major effort that we have taken. So, this is the context in which we are and the country is now rebooting. In 2012, Dr. Abdul Kalam came out with this word to all people who are technocrats working on technology as a Vision 2020 statement. He said, do something which is a lifeline and not abstract by 2020. Tamil சொல்லணும்னா சும்மா கதடிக்காத உருப்படியாக பண்ணு. That's what he told in the year 2012. At that point, I'm a big fan of Abdul Kalam. I've been closely following him. He's an ideal person for me. I thought what we can do for the country, what we know, I know a bit of computer architecture, so let me try and do some microprocessor for the country. So what is a microprocessor for people who are not deep into electronics? Every device you have, right, your mobile phone, anything, your camera, there is some electronics and there is a software which executes and makes the electronic do what we want. For example, mobile phone, there is electronic and there is an Android operating system which is software which resides on it. So every device will have one brain, and that brain is the microprocessor. That can be from your small smart lock today to high performance, Google Cloud or Amazon Cloud. Everywhere you see microprocessors. So can we do a family of microprocessors for this country? So that is where we started, and that is where the Shakti processor came up. By 2013 or 2014, we were actually targeted, meaning there's a $1 billion market, and we are one, we should say poor IIT with 10 students fighting $1 billion market outside. At that point, there were a lot of things that happened in our favor, wherein we took an open source microprocessor. Open source means that what is inside, so when you buy a mobile phone, you don't know what is inside it, correct? So you make some transaction. We don't know how many people are reading this transaction, right? How do you think you go on in your car, they say there is traffic in this road. How do you think they get this information? So every time your data, as you start using your mobile phone, your data gets leaked out in some form. And a lot of time when you install an app, you say, no, I agree. Have you anybody read what you have agreed for? right? So now this open source says we can find out what is inside. We know what is inside. As a country, we will know what every citizen has on his mobile phone. And that is the biggest thing that we achieve through this open source effort. The main important thing is that when we want to do something big, it may not be a war. I would like to bring a new nuclear program for the country, which will make me extremely self-reliant on power. Nuclear power is very important. Today I have something like what you call as a fast breeder reactor, which can generate much higher power at very low cost. And as the country moves on to the next industry 4.0 where we need more and more power, we would like to go and invest in these technologies. But the moment you start doing such type of activity, the external world can stop supply of certain important components. That's called embargo. When countries had enough amount of nuclear weapons, and when India did one Pokhran test for our own safety, the complete embargo came into the country. We were denied technologies. That is where the slavery, electronic slavery comes. Now this microprocessor that we have designed is free of that embargo. We can start designing it, we can start making semiconductor out of it, and what we had done at IIT Madras, we made this entire processor and made it open source. Anybody can take. Today we have 10,000 of them who are taking it and trying to make a design out of it. It can go from very small locks to mobile phones to whatever. And that is the effort that we actually brought in. And some big companies came and asked, no, this may change the business. Why do you want to do this? I said, it's for fun. So friends, we need to come out and we need to be, if we aspire to be a world leader, that's a very, very big fight. I want to also, how much time I have?
Plenty.
I would like to talk about another important thing that we as a country achieved in this COVID. You know, all your phones work on a technology called 4G, right? All of you know about 2G, 3G, 4G, right? So, now the next technology that you are going to get is 5G. Across the world, there is a standard body, global standard body, which will tell how this phone should work. And that's called 3GPP, Third Generation Project Partnership. And that's a cartel. There will be some big companies, they will never allow these Indian companies or anybody to come across. With IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, IIT Kanpur and some other institutions, youngsters, very youngsters, I consider myself old, much youngsters, okay, had come out with a technology in which, you know, when you are very close to the tower, you know that there is a signal strength, and you are far away from the tower, you don't get that signal strength. This technology can double the distance of the signal strength. Right? That is called 5G-I technology, 5G India technology. What are the consequences of this? The consequences of this is that every time I put a tower, I am consuming power, right? Lot of power is going to go on. Now, if my distance is going to be double, the number of hardware that I need to put will become half. Right? The cost will reduce, power consumption will reduce, and we will get very nice technology, specifically in rural area. Right? If you go to rural area today, you will not get 4G, though that spectrum has been licensed to these telcos. Now this gives an opportunity where you get a long distance at a very less cost. So this is the biggest thing that we got. But this becomes a standard patent. So anybody who will sell a phone which will adhere to this has to pay royalty back to our country. And this will be an entry into the 3GPP, that cartel. We will now force ourselves into that cartel. Believe me, gentlemen, I am a member of the National Security Advisory Board. It took us 3 years to push completely very, very big, very, very bad things that we saw. Like when there are multinational companies, our own kids whom we have given recommendations, they have gone there, they were opposing this. They never wanted us to come into the cartel. 3,600 to 3,800 patents is what they have. We want one patent for our country. We pushed it. We had the full support of our government. Today that's part of our standard. So there is a necessity today that the government, first the industry, the Indian industry, the academia, and especially the students should realize the importance of self-reliance, Atmanirbharta. And if that comes, we will have a very, very bright future for our country. If it doesn't come, we all can go to Himalayas adopting sannyas. Okay? This is a very, very clear point of reflection. But I must tell you, today, at IIT Madras, I'll market my institution now. At IIT Madras, we are now working very, very seriously and with a focus to bring in indigenous technologies. What can you expect from IIT Madras? Next 1 year, you may get a very interesting thing about space. Right? Today, space, rockets, they have become, the government has now made it more commercial, open to private players. The next technology, 5G to 6G, will use satellite communication. So there is a need to send satellites, to the low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit is 350 kilometers from ground level. We need to send a lot of satellites. Right? Now a technology that our startup, one of the startup is building, Cool is building, is that you can send this rocket up like Diwali rocket. Okay. So it's essentially like how do you go to a chatram and perform a marriage, right? You go there, go use it and come back. So it will be like 3 trucks that they are trying to build. One truck will be launch, one truck will be control room, one truck will give you the, the fuel or power. You take all these 3 trucks, assemble at a place, go and press a button, so it goes, move the 3 trucks, bring the next set of 3 trucks and press the next rocket. This needs a little bigger clap, please. This is going to change. If this is going to be successful, it will be successful and we will make it successful. We will have the Elon Musks of our country coming up, or they will have the the Agri-Cools of the nation will be there, I would say. So, and we are using some technologies where a rocket engine can be made in 72 hours, where it would have taken. We are almost close to the initial design of what we call as Hyperloop. Hyperloop is, a train that goes through vacuum. And we'll be doing a 500-meter test drive in the next 1 year. If that is successful, Bangalore to Chennai will be 35 minutes. So, these are some things that we are attempting, and we want to be first. We want to be the leader for the next world that we are looking at. At the same time, we are also branding IIT Madras as an institute for all. Always when we conduct, entrance into IIT was through this scary examination called JEE Advanced. I failed in JEE. Right. Now we have opened up online degrees and online BSc degree. It's a data science degree where it's not there's no cap on the number of students. It's an online degree, so 50,000 students can join. Now, it's only a qualifying examination, so you need to get some minimum marks and you get admitted. Right? And for people who have less than 1 lakh family income, we have enough amount of CSR through our alumni. Shankar is here, and we have enough amount of CSR that we completely make the fees null. And if there is a girl child with less than 5 lakh income, we offer free education to them, and they can be an IIT Madras degree holder on not on a simple topic. They will be in par with data science, which is the next, the most important fundamental block for artificial intelligence. And we see that there will be more than 1 million job requirement globally for this type of education that we are trying to give. We are also opening rural technology centers and rural interaction centers. A rural technology center is a place where we go and put certain 3D printers and all some very fancy things there. And the kids and the semi-urban and rural college students can come and experiment some ideas. I'd like to give you one simple example here. At one point of time, around 2013-14, Kaveri was dry. Water level at Tanjore Delta district was 200 feet. No power. Diesel was 75 rupees a liter. Right? Completely dry. It's a desert. At that point, I decided, let us put a solar pump in the farm and let us see at least one patch of land green. Right? So that was the crush that we had, but we tried it. So when we put that farm, when we put a solar, so all the people came and discouraged. It was first solar in the district, right? And we tried. All the fellows came and discouraged, right? Saying, oh, it won't work. It'll all go. So we put the motor, first 5 minutes, very good flow of water came. At the 5th minute it stopped. Okay. Everybody, as the water came, everybody, okay, something. 5th minute, I told you, no, not come. Then one day we were struggling, I brought it back to IIT Madras, we said, oh, torque, this mechanical, I couldn't understand, I'm a computer scientist, okay. Then finally, a mason in my village, who has just finished 8th standard, he has perfected civil engineering, he has done some very big project in Dubai where he has brought in a sea into a hotel and kept it out, okay. So that type of construction. This guy came and told me, they call me Govinda, no problem. அது ஒன்றும் இல்லை, அங்கே சாயில் வந்து ஒரு நம்ம ஊர் களிமண், இந்த போர் வச்ச ரோட்டர் வேலை செய்யாது. There is an aluminium one which is larger pore, and that is what will work here. And that aluminium thing is, that motor is 2,000 rupees less than this, so I will take care. So he took the motor, he returned it to a shop, told something, IIT something, and he got the other motor, got 2,000 rupees also. He came and put it there and it worked. This is what I mean by native intelligence. Right? This is native intelligence. So, what as a country we have missed is to tap our rural intelligence. I'll tell you another example. How many science graduates are here? I am a prof, I want to ask questions. Okay. So I have this question, I have been telling this about 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 20. What is the next number? 21. I say 31. Why it is correct? Huh? No, 15 is not right. Right? I asked this in a school, city school. Also asked in my rural school. I'm fortunate enough to be associated with a school which is 114 years old. My grandfather started in 1908, right? So 114 years old. And another school, my wife's grandfather started in 1950, he's also 75 years old. I asked this in my wife's grandfather's school, Krishna Middle School. 8th standard kid came and told, "There's 500 rupees, I'll give if you give me the answer for this." See, if you look at 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, all are made of odd digits. Right? 20 to 29, it has 2. 30 has 0. So the next number after this, which has only odd digits, is 31. So, this is another way of thinking, right? This is called out-of-the-box thinking. So, one great maths teacher, all of you would know Sadagopan Ramesh, right? His opener, his brother Sadagopan Rajesh, great maths teacher. We both are joining hands. Of course, he's doing major things. I have 1/1,000,000th of his intelligence. He's a great maths teacher. He coins such problems. We have more than 50,000 such problems. Okay? So, we are now launching a course called Out-of-the-Box Thinking, which will be made free again to all, anybody from 5th standard to, very old age can take it. And if you want a certificate, you need to write an examination, of course. Then we give you a certificate, but you can take this course. So this out-of-the-box thinking is very, very important, and that is what we find in rural India. Now, a lot of ideas come there. So we have started a rural technology center. IIT Madras is with the help of Shankar has also sponsored from his company 2 of it, and we'll be setting up. We want 100 such centers, and also a rural interaction center where the kids come online and we address them every evening between 6 and 8 on what are some basically encouraging this kid, motivating the kid to become much more communicative, etc. So this is the effort, and that is the inclusiveness that our country needs, to take the education to the rural and take it and be powerful. I think rural intelligence is going to define India's success. I strongly believe in it, and we will work on it. With this few words, thank you very much for this award. It's a fine evening. Only thing, all great men live, they do all good things, but they do one mistake. They leave us when we are alive. And that's the only mistake which my great friend Ramakrishna Raja has done. With this, thank you very much. And I remember this evening, I got many awards, but this is going to be a very special award for me. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Professor Kamakoti. I request President Lake Java to please accompany our district on the dais. I'd like to felicitate the evening.
President Ranjit, Professor Kamakoti, fellow Rotarians and family of Madras, and friends of the governor, late Raja Ramakrishna. That's how I normally write about him. When they asked me, why do you put Raja as in the front? I told them, to me you are always a Raja. It's not now, it's about 25, 30 years ago. Well before I was not a Rotarian. I happened to interact with him on a few things. And I happened to tell him that I normally feel that you are always Raja, and then only Ramakrishna comes. So that's how I put the word Raja and Ramakrishna. Even my phone you can see that. And I stored his name as Raja Ramakrishna only. I had very brief interactions with him. On the Rotary side, I didn't have much, to be honest with all of you. However, my last 2 interactions, the family knows that very well, was the sessions of his advice to me. When I want to get into the game, number 1, that was the first day. Then number 2 was the advice session was after I got into the game. And both what he said, simple thing, he said, it's very difficult to follow what I'm going to tell you. But if you do that, you'll be the most happiest man like me. That's what he told me. And I still remember the second time he came from the eye doctor after this surgery, and then he wanted to go for review, and he came back.
And that time he said, I'm able to see you all full almost, I was not even died that day. He said, "Innappa, அப்படியே விட முடியும் என்ன மாதிரி தான் இருக்கலாம் சார் ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டு டை பண்ணிக்கிறேன் சார் 20 வருஷமா எல்லாரும் ஏமாத்தீங்க என்னை போய் இப்போ போயிட்டு சொல்லுங்க நல்ல காலம் நீ இந்த லெவல்லே நிறுத்திட்டு பாரு ஏமாத்துறதா ஐம் வெரி ஹாப்பி now." So that was a person, as a witty person always, he used to guide us. And it was such a painful message when I got from Vidya Sri that Gita saying that we don't expect anyone of you to take the trouble of coming due to the pandemic. However, that was the day it really passed with a lot of grief in our minds, and a person of a multi-talented personality to me was Raja Ramakrishna. I mean, I couldn't change that word terminologies from Raja to then. And it is always, he was the last, like every one of you said, the last meeting I met was in your charter night, and in the hotel. And that time we couldn't stay for long. And I can only imagine, probably like what Past Physical and Nagoji said, there's only one moment I come across in the last 9 months when I was thinking of what Ramakrishna Raja would have thought, or he would have advised me on a particular issue. And as he rightly said, I couldn't follow that. That I have to confess. So I'm very happy that Professor Kamakoti has agreed to take this first ever memorial award in the name of the great personality of this age, Rotarian Past District Ramakrishna Raja, and you're really honored us by being here. And his legacy is continuing with people like you. We are indebted to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ghana. I request Rangnath Raja to address us.
Good evening. Rotarian Ranjit Joseph, President of the Rotary Club of Madras South, and the other Rotarians and guests. I'm really honored that you have instituted this award in the memory of my father. Today has been a little bit of an overwhelming day for me, because today, as you know, is the second anniversary of his passing away. I think of him almost every day, but more so today than other days. But this has been truly a celebration, as you said. And to cap the celebration is the giving away of the award to Professor Kamakoti. We are very honored to be associated with you. And in the spirit of my father's competitive spirit, I need to tell you that I failed IIT twice. But you have given me hope that I can still get a degree from IIT Madras. And this hall brings a lot of memories, because Chari uncle used to have his weekly programs here, which my father used to attend without fail. And those times when we were in Chennai, we would also accompany him. So I feel his presence here, and I feel that he is still amongst us. Professor Kamakoti, you said he has left us, but I don't think he has left us. He is with us always, and he will continue to be with us. And in conclusion, I would say that we have been members of the Rotary Club of Madras South, even though we are not formally members, and we will continue to be members of Rotary Club of Madras South. Thank you very much.
Please just wait there for a second. I request Aarti Chari to join us on the dais, and Rangi also.
Please come on to the dais, please.
In gratitude for this evening, we would like to hand over a memento. One of our senior most Rotarians and always our well-wisher. Thank you, Ranga. On behalf of the Rotary Club Madras South, an expression of appreciation and gratitude, by our President-elect, Lieutenant Jawar.
Good evening to all. I firstly profusely thank DG Sridhar for taking his valuable time off and blessing this wonderful ever function. On behalf of RCMS, I wholeheartedly also thank PDG Ramakrishna's wife, Radhalakshmi, and her family for their lovely support and blessing this event. I also thank Director IIT, Professor Kamakoti, for a mesmerizing speech, which really kept us really out of the corner. I also like to thank R.T. Chari for our past member and always being a permanent well-wisher. Last but not the least, I'd like to thank all the members of our club, aunts, aunts, district officials, visiting Rotarians, aunts, aunts, friends and guests for being part of this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you, Jawar. Can we all rise and we will sing the national anthem.